Hi everyone, and welcome into the Campfire. This week we are deep diving into District 6, 6A, and it's going to be a very interesting district with a lot of in and outs and great teams in it. So let's introduce you to them in our film session presented by Cricket Wireless.
The power in this district comes primarily from Louisville ISD. Flower Mound Marcus went undefeated in district play last year, only to have their star quarterback Garrett Nussmeier miss the postseason with an injury. The Marauders bring back an experienced offensive line along with Dallas Dudley and Connor Vaughn as receivers. However, what most fans will be keeping an eye on is the quarterback position. If you are looking for pure offensive firepower, the Fighting Farmers will have what you need. They return 2,000-yard rusher Damian Martinez and Texas commit Armani Winfield as wideout. If Louisville wants to take a district title, it will come down to the defensive making stops. And how about the Hebron Hawks? They are fresh off winning the state 7-on-7 championship and bring back one of the district's most exciting players in Coda Bridges. Flower Mound High is led by Florida recruit Nick Evers at quarterback, but it will be their young defense that must step up for a chance at the playoffs. Coppell also brings back a big defensive line and will look to make a run for a postseason spot as well. As for the Plano ISD schools, Plano West made the playoffs last year under second-year head coach Tyler Suckup. Quarterback Vance Feuerbacher was the district newcomer of the year last year and should excel this year as well. Plano East returns one of the best running backs in Mahdi and will hope to pick up a win or two. The same goes for Plano High as they groom a new quarterback.
The film session is presented by Cricket Wireless. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Like we said, some really great teams in 6-6A, and it is stacked with phenomenal players. It's time to see who a few of them are and our players on the rise.
Flower Mound's Nick Evers may be the most experienced quarterback in this district. Last year, he threw for 2,500 yards and 20 touchdowns as he was a first-team All-District selection. Through hard work and a generous growth spurt, Evers has progressed from virtually unknown to an SEC quarterback as he's committed to Florida for his college ball. He will have his share of weapons to throw to this fall, so look for another big year from Evers. Louisville's Damian Martinez is the best running back returning to 6-6A. The senior burst on the scene last year as he rushed for over 2,000 yards and 31 touchdowns, as he was co-MVP of the district. Martinez can bust it up the middle for the tough yards as well to show off his breakaway speed for the long game-breaking touchdowns. Damian is committed to Oregon State for his college ball. If the Farmers don't get you on the ground, Armani Winfield will help them score through the air. The wide receiver caught 42 balls for 609 yards and 5 scores last year as the Louisville offense was explosive. Winfield is a tall, long-framed receiver with speed and has the ability to make a big play after every catch. Armani chose Texas over Alabama, Michigan State, and others to play his college ball. Coppell's running game will be formidable again behind offensive tackle Alvin Elbaselli. At 6'5", 280, Elbaselli has great leverage and is able to hold his block until his rusher has picked up significant yardage. He will occasionally play on the defensive line as well, where he's difficult to block. Elbaselli committed to the Baylor Bears last month.
Phenomenal players. Like I said, some of the best in the state of Texas are in 6-6A, and they are led by some amazing head coaches. Let's bring one of them in for our Media Day segment as we have Hebron head coach Brian Brazel on with us.
All right, Media Days. We're talking 6-6A. We're here with Hebron head coach Brian Brazel. Coach, man, last year, I don't even want to talk about what you had to go through last year because I know all it's going to do is bring up bad memories. You're going to get mad and throw the phone up against the wall. So we won't talk about that. But is there anything you can feed off of last year that can get you started right this year? Because, I mean, you guys missed the playoffs for the first time in like 6 years. But it's not all because it's the skill on the field. I mean, you had to deal with a lot of stuff. Is there anything you can build off of that?
Oh yeah, I mean, regardless, everybody had to deal with a lot of stuff last year. I mean, I think you can sit there and we all had our things that we had to deal with, and the one thing I think you always have to do is you can't look for excuses about this side or the other. We all had things we had to deal with. It was a crazy year. I'm just hoping this year that I don't have to worry about thermometer checks, and I don't have to worry about social distancing. I don't have to worry about masks. I don't have to worry about contact tracing. I hope we're just getting ourselves prepared to play a tough football schedule and get ourselves ready to go out and compete each and every day. And that's the way we've really been dealing with it this summer. So, I mean, we did make the playoffs, and obviously that's always a goal, and we're disappointed it didn't work out for us, obviously. But at the end of the day, it's those things don't define who you are or anything about you. I mean, the thing is how you respond to those things, and I think that's the things that we're looking at.
I appreciate you joining us. I can't wait for the season to start. Hopefully your schedule won't get jacked up as much as it did last year, but I appreciate you joining us.
You bet. Thanks for having me. Hey, go Hawks, and we look forward to a great 2021, and we're glad we're going to be starting on time.
All right.
Coach Brazel, thank you so much for joining us here on the Campfire. You can catch the entire interview with the Hebron Hawks head man on Thursday on our social media platforms. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Now we bring in the professor, Matt Diggs, for the district breakdown.
All right, it's district breakdown time. We're talking 6-6A, which is close to where I am right now at most of the Louisville ISD teams. Talk about what you see coming out of there, because that's the Louisville ISD teams and the Plano ISD teams going at it.
Yeah, and when we talk about this district, I think the focus, and rightfully so, is going to be on the Louisville ISD teams. They've got a lot of the biggest talent and the biggest names. Marcus last year was kind of on everybody's hit list and radar. They had the good quarterback, and they have a new transfer coming in with Cole Welliver. Sophomore, 6'6", checks all the boxes. But Jackson Warren came in and stepped in last year for Garrett and played well. I mean, obviously they lost to Prosper, and that was just a really tough matchup in the first round. But I think Marcus has a two-headed monster at quarterback, and they've got Gabe Espinoza coming back. I think Marcus is the favorite. But in the big picture, and I'm probably going to make some of my 6-6A friends mad, there's a lot of good teams in this district, but I don't know if there's a great team in this district. I don't know if when we're going in the DFW top 10 or top 15, any of these teams are going to make the top 10 or top 15 or necessarily be a state title contender. But I think this district might have 5 or 6 teams from like 15 to 30. That's how I kind of see this district breaking up. Another player I'm really interested in, who's had a really good offseason. If you ever go to recruiting Twitter, you kind of see some big names blowing up. But this summer in 7-on-7, Dakota Bridges is really getting on everybody's radar. He's doing fantastic, and he's got a good quarterback in Jacob Bunniff throwing to him. I'm very excited to see how that goes. So for me in this district, top 2 teams, I've got Marcus and Hebron as my top 2 teams in this district, and I'm very excited about them. But at the same time, there's not a big drop-off from there when it comes to the next couple of teams.
I appreciate it, Diggs. We're going to talk 7-6A next week, and we'll try to figure out which of these Richardson squads you think are going to step up, and Irving squads for that matter.
We'll talk next week.
Wiz, Diggs, thank you so much. Great insight as always. That is all we have for this week's episode. Come back every Monday as we deep dive into districts around the Metroplex. Though it is getting pretty close to season, so I'm pretty excited for that. Thank you so much for once again joining us here for the Campfire. I'm Ashley Billington, and I'll see you all next week.